Everyone wants to lose weight, and everyone is talking about losing weight, but not always people talk about losing fat. And I think when you want to lose weight, the best way to lose weight is by losing fat, because you can lose weight in many different ways. You can lose weight in the process of losing muscle. And if you lose muscle, you're being more fat, or you're worsening the relationship in between fat and muscle. And this is going to be very detrimental for your health. What we really need to focus is in which are the best strategies that I can include in my diet in order to lose fat in a very, very healthy way. And this is something that you can achieve when you start balancing, when you know the kinds of foods, when you know when to eat. When you do all these things, then everything starts to be getting better in order for you to lose fat. And by losing fat, you're going to lose weight. So this is what I wanted to tell you in this video, so let's start. I'm gonna give you 9 strategies in which you can start working today in order to start losing fat and to lose weight. So number 1 is please quit sugars. Sugars, honey, any other syrup, because sugars can give you very high spikes of glucose, very high spikes of insulin. Most of the people, when they're overweighted, they have a bunch of starches, which is called glycogen, inside of their muscle, inside of their liver. They're full of their cells having very, very high amounts of glucose. And every time that enters a lot of glucose, a lot of fructose, all of it is going to turn into fat. Why? Because your cells are full. They don't need more. Whenever they need, they have enough glycogen in your muscles. So when you quit this, it's not that by quitting, then you're going to start losing weight. Of course not. It's not the only thing. But if you keep on eating sugars, syrups, honey, or any other caloric sweetener, then you're going to start gaining more weight instead of what you're aiming for, which is losing fat. Please don't eat fruit juice or don't drink fruit juice, because fruit juice, it's pure sugar, pure glucose, pure fructose, and it's coming down like a slide, going into your bloodstream and shifting and giving you very, very high amounts of fructose and very high amounts of glucose. Number 2, you need to eat carbs. Yeah. And you're like, what do you mean by carbs? Yeah, you need to eat carbs, but mostly green, veggies, and different types of vegetables. So you need to make big salads whenever you're going to eat. Why? Because big salads that are very low in glucose, very low in fructose, very low in starches that are little chains of glucose, but they are very high in fiber. So we're going to help you with satiety. They're going to help you with the velocity in which glucose from other sources enters from your intestine into your bloodstream. They're going to bring you glucose control, insulin control. They're going to give you the control for the GLP pathway that everyone is talking about these days, why everyone is injecting this magic medication called Ozempic. And what I want you to have attached to this is you need to eat low in sugars, low in starches. Remember, starches are little chains of glucose that are just attached one within the other. When you eat low in sugars and low in starches, but you eat very high in other types of carbohydrates, which are low in starches but very high in fiber, then you're going to have better control. Number 3 is to eat the right amount and the right quantity of healthy fats. Healthy fats are extremely important. Healthy fats are necessary for a lot of different things in our body, for our brains, for our cell membranes, for the production of hormones, for a bunch of things. But you need to remember that healthy fats should be at least 30% of the nutrients that you include. If you want to lose weight, you need to have control on your appetite, and you need to have control on the hormones, which play a very important role in your health. When you eat the right amount, you shouldn't be worried at all of eating too much. When people say that you should be afraid of calories, well, it can be something that you can keep on track. But what you really need to be focusing on is that you're eating the right amount of food for you, for your age, for your weight, for your level of physical activity. And for that, you need to make the calculation, not on calories, of the amount of nutrients that you should be consuming although they have calories, but you should be aiming for the right amount of nutrients to be consuming. That calculation should be at least 30-35% of the amount of fats that you need to be consuming. When you have that, the hormones, inflammation, and everything else is going to be controlled. So whenever you make this whole process, then you're going to start losing weight. Number 4 is going to be eating the right amount of protein. People don't eat the right amount of protein, or they don't eat the right quality or types of protein because they think that by eating beans, they're getting the right amount of protein. Nope. You're not eating the right amount, and you're not getting the right amount of all the essential amino acids that need to occur in that protein or that you need to be ingesting during the day. So what you need to take into account is that if you want to lose weight, you should at least be consuming 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of your weight. What does that mean? If I'm weighing, 80 kilograms, then I should be consuming 120 grams of protein per day. What you need to be looking at is once it is cooked, you divide the weight of the cooked meat and then you divide it into 4. That's going to be around the number of the amount of protein, because the rest, what it is, it's going to be fat, it's going to be water, it's going to be little amounts of fiber. So that's what you're going to find. When you gain more muscle, then you're going to have a better metabolic rate when you're resting. And if you have a better metabolic rate when you're resting, it means that you're consuming more energy while resting. If you're consuming more energy while resting, all the glucose that you have in your cells is going to be consumed faster than your muscle and your liver. They're going to start sharing some of that glucose, so you have that tight amount of glucose that we need to have in our blood. Number 5 is to have a good hydration. When you have good hydration, and good hydration is not by ingesting the right amount of water. You need to remember that water moves freely throughout the body, but it helps it a lot when that water to be in your blood, within the cells, and inside the cells when you ingest it with the right amount of minerals. Minerals that really help water to move from your mouth into the blood, within the cells and into the cells, are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. There are others that help, but mostly those 3. If you look for minerals to include in your water that have no sugar, and if you're training a lot, then you need to add more of these minerals into your water so you can have good hydration. When you have good hydration, you're looking for food. Sometimes people, when they're looking for food, they're just dehydrated. And once you get proper amounts of hydration, then you realize that you weren't hungry at all. Number 6, try to eat in the morning as late as you can. Don't wake up and go for food right over. Oh, doc, but every time that I wake up, I'm starving. Yeah, I know. Because your metabolism is all wrong. When you wake up, try to get a cup of coffee, maybe 2, maybe 3. Try to, get a run, walk for a while, get all the activities that you have in the morning. But try to go for breakfast 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. Try to get that first meal, doing it very high in protein, but wait a while. Make your eating window shorter. That's why I want to encourage you for the last meal to do it as soon as you can. 6 on the afternoon, 6:30, 7, and then you can stop. And then you can eat all the amount of food that you need. It's not to eat less, it's to eat less frequently. Cortisol and amounts of adrenaline, the hormone sensitive lipase, gets blocked. So you need to shorten the amount of the window, or the amount of time in which you're eating. That's what they call time-restricted eating or time-restricted feeding. Make the meals as much as you want, but be sure, I recommend 2 or 3 times a day, but be sure that you're not eating less, that you know the amount of nutrients that you should be consuming, and consume them. Make sure you consume them, especially with the right amount of protein. Tip number 7 is not to consume alcohol. Alcohol has a very special way of acting in our body. Alcohol, when you consume, it gives a little bit of energy to the cells, but mostly it goes to the liver. And when it goes to the liver and it finds a liver that it's full of glucose, that it's full of inflammation, if you already have a fatty liver, then everything is going to be turned into fat. Everything. And people say, oh, but I'm just getting beer. It doesn't matter. Beer has ethanol and it has other carbohydrates that are going to be inside of beer. And again, if you don't have a metabolic problem and you have a drink once in a while, if you have a drink 2 or 3 times a week, it's not that much. It's maybe a drink and a half. Anything is going to happen if you have a good lifestyle? Probably not. I really enjoy drinking red wine, and I take maybe a glass and a half, mostly like 3 times a week. I can have a beer once in every now and then. I can have a beer. I like IPAs. Alcohol raises your blood sugar. Alcohol gets converted into fat if you already have a metabolic problem. Alcohol could raise in men the levels of estrogen, so we get more fat, especially in the midsection, especially in your thighs, especially in your butt, and it gives you man boobs. And for women, sometimes women exceed the amount of alcohol that they can metabolize or that they can process inside of their liver, so it's going to help them gain weight a lot. Tip number 8, it's not to be eating little snacks within the day. When you're eating a lot, you're going to be hungry all the time. And after a very short period of time, maybe after a month, every time at 10 a.m. you're going to be hungry. You have created a reflex that reflex tells your body that every time at 10 a.m. you're receiving food. It worked with Pavlov's dogs back in 1903 when he were feeding them after they heard a signal. Well, if you make a signal every day at 10 a.m., even if you're hungry or not, you're going to be hungry. And also the problem with that is that you're stimulating insulin too much times. If there is a day that someone gave you an apple at 10 a.m. and you were hungry, or that apple or that fruit or that particular type of food was interesting and you wanted to try it, give it a try. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't mean that you need to be eating all the time because it's going to keep your metabolism active and it's going to make you burn more. That's not true. And number 9, again, sometimes people focus on calories and you need to be in a caloric deficit. You need to be in a caloric deficit. Look, guys. Food has calories. It's the capacity of a certain nutrient to elevate 1 centigrade grade of temperature to 1 gram of water. I'm saying this because you don't need to be eating a lot of food. No, it doesn't mean that. But you shouldn't be eating less too. By eating less, life is going to be very, very boring. You need to be eating what you need to be eating. What is what I recommend to my patients? Make the calculation of the amount of protein that you need. Make that number 25%. Use the amount of calories that it has just to release the other calculations so you can use it. What do I mean? I'm going to use an example. I need 110 grams of protein. How many calories does it has? It has 440. Why? Because that is the amount, a gram of protein has 4 calories. It's what it has, okay? And I'm going to make that number 25%. Then I can go and say, okay, if I want to make the amount of fat 30%, and so I go, if 440 calories is 25%, then 30% is what? Is going to be like 500 and something. That 500 and something is going to give me the amount of grams of carbohydrates that I should be, that I should be ingesting per day. But you're not eating calories, you're eating nutrients. And you should be making the calculation based on the amount of nutrients that you have, although they have a caloric content. I've seen it several times. I have a book that is called The Metabolic Miracle. It's a book that has sold over 500,000 copies in Spanish, and it's all over the world. And here in the US, people are starting to know the book. In this book, I explain the process very deeply, in which what I'm describing to you in this video. But if you really want to lose weight, if you want to maintain that weight, if you want to lose weight by creating health, I really encourage you to be taking these 9 tips into account. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can read my book and let me know what you think. I'm going to leave you a link here so you can get my book everywhere in the US. And I hope you like this video. And also, please remember before you leave that the best way that you can support us is very easy. Just remember to share this video with your friends. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and click the bell. So every time we make a new video, you are going to be the first one to be notified. Thank you. Till next time.